Hi, and welcome to Cultures of Globalization. My name's Dr. Nick Manganas, and I'm your subject coordinator for this subject in this spring session. Welcome to week one, and I hope you're looking forward to the course ahead. Hopefully by now you've read the subject outline available on UTS Online, and in this brief online orientation video for week one, I'll highlight the key aspects of the subject's aims detailed in the subject outline so that you're clear on the subject's requirements and expectations. This orientation will explain the subject aims and formal learning objectives, how the subject is structured, the content and how your understanding of the subject will be assessed. I will also explain the teaching style adopted in this subject and what it requires of you as a student involved. The presentation will then conclude with a quick guide on the subject's UTS Online page before leaving you to undertake this week's orientation activity. So Cultures of Globalization meets as a mass seminar. The first face-to-face seminar will commence in week 2. The weekly seminars are scheduled on Wednesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. and are located in CB 11.00.401. Because we meet as a mass seminar, there will be 3 tutor facilitators in the class. This includes myself, as well as Mariano Rodriguez and Kavita Bedford. Our contact details can be found on the subject outline and on UTS Online. You will already have been allocated one of us as a tutor, and you can find the class list on UTS Online this week. Your tutor will act as your primary teacher in the classroom and as your main point of contact for this course. I'll elaborate a little later on how this teaching style will operate. So this subject explores in detail the cultural processes, forms and implications of cultural globalization in both its historical and contemporary context. We delve into what this term in terms of culture is and what it does under globalized conditions. We particularly explore questions arising from the meeting of cultures and processes of globalization that include older histories of imperialism to more modern developments in terms of technology and media and recent trends in the movement of people across borders via international migration. These processes of globalization make inquiry into culture ever pertinent, and we look at the key concepts around culture and globalization, such as post-colonialism and Orientalism, indigeneity, diaspora, multiculturalism, race and racism, cultural hybridity, transnationalism and cosmopolitanism, as well as many, many more. We ground our theoretical explorations in case studies such as music, food and taste, and social media. In this way, you will start to understand how the global is in the local, manifested in your own immediate context, but as well in different social contexts around the world. So this subject hopes to illuminate as well how it is often in the domain of culture where resistance to the negative consequences of globalization can emerge. Now let's look a little bit at the subject structure. As you can see, to achieve these learning goals, we unpack the broad subject aims weekly, and the subject is structured as such. So part 1 of the course explores the theories and concepts that we need in order to understand cultural globalization before we move into part 2, where we explore various case studies where we apply those concepts and those theories. To assess your understanding and engagement of the content, there are 3 assignments in this subject that you must complete. Please observe whether you were enrolled as a 6 credit point or 8 credit point student. Those of you enrolled in the Bachelor of Global Studies will be enrolled in the 8 credit point version, whereas most of you enrolled as an elective student are enrolled in the 6 credit point version. The first assessment is the weekly online forum posts. And this assessment is to ensure sustained engagement with course material and awareness about events that are implicated in or resultant from processes of cultural globalization. So in this assessment, you will post an online forum post weekly to your online forum group, including a weekly question for group discussion in class. So essentially, these entries will allow you to be prepared to participate in class. These entries must be posted by 5 p.m. on the Tuesday preceding our class on Wednesdays. Your entries will be checked by your tutor before you come to class. Then in week 11, you will elect your best forum entries, 5 entries for those enrolled in the 8 credit point version of the subject, and 3 for those enrolled in the 6 credit point version. You will submit them for final grading on Friday of week 11 via Turnitin, and this assignment is weighted at 30% of your final grade. The second assessment is a group assignment where you will work in groups of 3, and it will call on you to deepen your understanding of international Indigenous cultural matters and assess the value of cultural protection processes and institutions on a global level. The assignment is split in 2 parts. First, you will do a 1,000-word traditional comparative analysis of 2 readings that discuss the preservation of Indigenous cultures. The second part will call on you to work as a group to pitch a common cultural tradition in light of your analysis. This assignment is weighted at 30% and the overall length is 1,500 words, and this is due at the end of week 7. The third assignment is the cultural inventory. In this assignment, you are required to record a video in which you analyze an aspect of your life as both a product and agent of cultural globalization. This assignment assesses your critical reflection skills in analyzing the concrete ways culture and globalization intersect, referencing and linking the situation you discuss about your life to the subject readings and concepts. Now let's move on to the subject learning objectives. What do we aim to do in this subject? Firstly, the aim is to identify various processes of globalization and anti-globalization entities relative to culture and to assess their impacts upon local and emerging globalized forms of culture. Second, we analyze globalized cultural phenomena from a variety of theoretical perspectives, including those issuing from outside the recognized centers of global cultural authority. Importantly, you will enhance your ability to reflect on one's own position as a product of and participant in cultural globalization and approach the above from a self-aware perspective. And lastly, this subject aims to help you communicate complex ideas in a coherent, professional, and accessible form, both orally and also in writing. As I mentioned earlier, this subject meets as a mass seminar. This means that there are no traditional lectures for this subject. Instead, you're required to undertake pre-seminar preparation before every class, which includes readings and viewings that give background to the week's topic. The seminar then is focused on interactive group work with multiple tutor facilitators in the room, and so successful learning in this subject fundamentally relies on you being prepared by having completed the pre-seminar work. The mass seminar will have many pop-up lectures by tutors, but essentially they are there to facilitate student-led discussion. The style of learning aims to engage the subject content in an interactive and fun way. So what is expected of you as a student in this subject? Firstly, seminar attendance is a minimum requirement of the subject, and the role will be taken at each seminar. Pre-seminar preparation is required every week. Those who come to class without completing pre-seminar viewings, readings, and media exercises will be asked to leave the seminar and will be marked as absent. We also request that you bring a laptop or smartphone device to every seminar, as there is some digital participation required. If you're having issues with accessing a device, please contact me, the subject coordinator. You're also required to check in regularly on UTS Online for subject announcements and also updates. Lastly, this subject encourages students to debate concepts, issues, and events. But this also requires being respectful to peers and also the subject instructors. We will sometimes debate hotly contested issues related to globalization, racism, nationalism, and so on. The only opinion permitted is a critically informed one. Myself and the tutors prioritize providing a safe and welcoming environment. Anyone who is found to be breaching respectful conduct will be asked to leave the class, and further formal measures may also be taken. Please take some time to navigate the UTS Online page. It is organized quite intuitively and simply. You'll find that the landing page is where you'll find announcements and important updates for the subject. You will also find a link to the readings. You'll also find a link to the viewings. Please try to find the group, the tutorial that you're allocated, plus the group, and then go to the weekly online forum to introduce yourself and to have a look at where you can submit your online posts. You will also find links to the assessment briefs and to rubrics, plus extra assessment resources, and that's also where you'll find the links to submit your assignments through Turnitin. I'll now leave you to complete this week's orientation activity. Please check the details in the Week 1 folder. The main activity for this orientation week is for you to view the documentary Life in a Day. Life in a Day is a documentary made up of 80,000 submissions from 192 countries of homemade YouTube videos where people documented a day in their life, shedding some light on what it means to be human in the world today. I hope it starts to get you thinking about culture and globalization in both its mundane ordinariness and also its formalities. You can find the link to the documentary in that Week 1 folder. So I hope this short video has more or less given you a good orientation and overview of how this subject will work. If you have further questions, you can ask me or your tutor in class in Week 2, or please feel free to email me. I hope you enjoy the documentary, and we will see you all in Week 2.